Hi everyone. It's mid-October 2022. Actually out this morning, this Saturday morning, collecting nuts, getting yield data off of various trials of grizzly walnut rootstock versus the other rootstocks. I was driving through the middle of this Howard orchard, about 5 or 6 years old, that I'm very familiar with, and I saw something that I've been meaning to get video of. The backstory is here that the grower was finding trees at the last moment, and to get this little 10 acres of Howards planted, he bought trees, and I sold him the trees at the time on all three at the time commercial rootstocks: Vlach, RX1, and VX211. It's not a trial, but there's certainly all three rootstocks out here spread out enough that you can learn a lot. And what we're going to look at today is just what I have seen over and over on Vlach, and that is lots of crown gall, which the whole industry went to the expense of the trouble of clonal rootstocks in order to get away from crown gall and to then start gaining other advantages. And so I hope many of you that have planted Vlach are not seeing crown gall problems, but as a guy that looks at hundreds or even and looks at hundreds of orchards and has sold hundreds of thousands of trees and been up and down the state, I have simply seen way too much crown gall, 20, 30, 50% on Vlach, and virtually nothing on all the other clones, including grizzly, which we're now 15 or 20,000 trees into planting grizzly, and we're yet to see a crown gall in the field. It isn't immune, but I think it's going to be a lot more like RX1s. We'll eventually see one, but Vlach, this is my just say no to Vlach, because it's a ticking time bomb. Again, I hope many of you had good luck. This is heavier kind of clay soil, and so grower did everything right here. But if you're going to induce crown gall, this is the place to do it. It was an old orchard on Paradox of Tehamas that was planted back, I believe, in the early 70s, late 60s, 2006. It went down pretty hard, wet winter. He fallowed this for like 4 years, ripped it, leveled it, fumigated it with Telone. So the nematode pressure is not much in here, and even the crown gall pressure really should have been back to natural. He didn't just slam it back in. But whatever, I'm going to pick up the camera and walk a couple rows of Vlach, and then I'm going to jump over about 10 rows and get to the first RX1 row and walk that and show you the comparison. And I've just seen this too many times. I want to shoot this video because maybe growers don't know. I don't even know how much Vlach is still planted in California, but I know that I've seen rootstocks in nurseries, so it's still going out. So not everybody has gotten this information. So okay, let's take a little walk. Okay, so here we are. Oh, I think I might have flipped things around when I grabbed the phone. And one thing I'll say, when I look at the just to give you a representation, there's the nut buggy for the day. It's easy at getting through orchards when there's windrows to drive sign. Anyways, young Howard orchard looks pretty good for the conditions. And you know, if you look at UC trials and data, this is why people always want to know something more than the data is, dang it. So you look at these 5, 6, 7th leaf results, and Vlach always, oh, it's making a lot of nuts, and it's right up there, and the tree size is as big as some of the others. What that data can't show is 25% of the trees have crown gall, and when you look at the 15th year data, which you'll never get because nobody does the trials that long because it's impossible, is the orchard will suck, or the Vlach will suck, because there's going to be a lot of trees going down from crown gall. So you know, there's the old lies, damn lies, and statistics, and this is one of those cases. So anyways, just want to do that little speech that you can look at all the 6th and 7th leaf data you want about Vlach. And even if there's a footnote about crown gall, I think seeing is believing. So let's just start walking this row. There you go, big old gall. Here's another one. It's in the shade, but it's a huge one. And this is a grower that used to treat galls. He probably hasn't been paying attention because, well, he finally was able to get clones. Okay, so here we got 3 or 4 trees in a row that look clean. And then that tree's toast already. Next one. Oh, I mean, it really is disgusting. It's, you know, this is just what we've been learning about Vlach. I mean, everybody felt it was pretty good, and when you could get it, it was better than growing something on a seed. Okay, so I'm walking over to the RX1 rows, which were planted intentionally in the even wetter, more clay. There's just another big old gall right next to it. Things erupting out of the ground. I mean, this might as well be 1990 trees on seed. So the RX1 was actually intentionally planted where the conditions get even more severe, wetter, more of and heavier clay. It was a hump that was cut out of the field, so poor soil, wetter soil, the whole 9 yards. I gotta remember where I'm at here. Excuse me. Yes. Here we go. And in fact, the first 4 rows of this row were on VX211. And yeah, I'm very familiar. The reason I remember the map in my head and that he was just planting as he went along is because you see the difference in the graft union or the rootstock and the scion being very pronounced. It's about the scion is 2/3 of the rootstock. That's very symptomatic of VX211. We know that it tends to make a smaller tree. There's some slight level of less graft agreement. You couldn't call it incompatibility, but when you see that and it's a clone, you know that's VX211. And I kind of know this map in my head. Then we get to this first RX1 tree and the graft union is very smooth. But anyway, so let me just walk it and you're gonna see no galls. And you saw those 4 VX211, not a very big sample size, but there you go. So the RX1, that beautiful, Grizzly has that same beautiful smooth graft union showing nice agreement. I like this tree. I saw this when I came over and scoped out. So this tree on RX1 does have a gall, and it's right at the bud union, so it probably happened during propagation in the nursery, which we know this happens. There's agrobacterium everywhere. That's as big as that. There we go. That's as big as that gall has gotten in 5 or 6 years. So we know from the great research that UC Davis has done that it's not just does the rootstock get crown gall or not. It's also a matter of how fast does it grow when that rootstock gets it. And typically it's correlated that the less susceptible to getting it at all a plant is, also slower that the crown gall that it does get now and then grows. So, you know, that's great. So, and that's very indicative of it. Okay, so we could keep going on and on and on, but we're not going to find any crown galls on this RX1. So these videos always get longer than I intend, but I wanted to give some background. So there you go. Hope that was informative, if also disturbing for anybody who has Vlach in the ground.